Alright, so this is a suggestion via a donation. The name of the video is How American Airlines Makes 15,000 Meals a Day. Let's check it out.
Here at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, American Airlines prepares up to 15,000 meals a day, now with the help of robots, for more than 800 flights daily. The airline just built this 214,000 square foot facility that features more automation to keep up with demand and to minimize catering delays, as the number of people traveling breaks new records, and globally, demand is expected to double by 2040.
We have some of the highest load factors we've ever had in the history of American. And so we wanted to build the next generation of catering facility that would grow with us.
Food service on domestic airlines has drastically changed in recent years.
Airplane food is known for being horrible, but airlines do carry a lot of people and they carry them around the world on sometimes flights that can top 8, 12, sometimes 14 hours, and those passengers have to eat.
Guys, listen, airplane food probably would not taste terrible if you were eating it after it was just made, or even honestly eating that same thing at that same exact time, let's say on the ground. Guys, lower air pressure on planes generally make food taste disgusting. So I'm not just going to accept the fact that airplane food tastes bad. I'm just going to say, listen, our taste buds are not where they should be, basically. We're not birds, guys. Right?
Nearly 3 million passengers fly every day in the U.S. Post-pandemic, airlines have seen an increase in passengers buying up to premium seats, putting pressure on airlines to offer better food options and more of them.
The airlines want to have ways of getting business travelers to reject flying economy and demand first class.
Airlines do not disclose publicly how much they make from selling food. It's considered ancillary revenue, which are services not included in the base fare, like baggage fees, priority boarding, and seat upgrades. Globally, airline ancillary revenue has grown from $42.6 billion in 2013 to nearly $103 billion in 2022.
Running an airline is very expensive. So airlines like American, like Delta, they're going to look for places that they can cut costs wherever they can, whether it's getting meals to an aircraft faster, whether it's making those meals more cheaply, they are going to do that.
CNBC flew to Texas to get a first look at American Airlines' new facility.
Let's go.
Airline food has evolved a lot over the history of commercial aviation. During the 1950s, airlines served elaborate meals. But as flying grew in popularity...
Bro, listen. There was no way that they were giving them lobster.
Jets got bigger. Airlines added more seats, and serving food became more complicated.
Making airline food is difficult. If you think about how hard it is to cook for 10 people, imagine cooking for 200 people or 300 people
consistently.
The airlines used to all have their own flight kitchens, and during that time, you had an actual high level of diversity in airline food because of the fact you got this very fast response at, hey, the passengers don't like this. And there was an immediate, okay, we'll change to something else.
Guys, I'm also sure that this is not going to be on every single domestic flight. So a lot of people probably are going to be like, listen, I don't remember the last time I've eaten in the air. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and guess it's probably 5 hours or more, or obviously international. Every single time I fly internationally, I get multiple meals, right? So it has to be time oriented, most likely.
Don't like this. And there was an immediate, okay, we'll change to something else.
Nowadays, airlines generally partner with catering companies. LSG Sky Chefs is one of the biggest, with 26% of total industry revenue in the U.S.
One of the reasons airlines...
Guys, that's the message. When you start seeing one company, for the most part, dominating a very specific industry, you need to look and see if they actually are, being... Let's say if they're public, if that makes any sense, guys. Check their stock symbol, etc., and invest, most likely, depending on how the market's moving. But if there's one company specifically dominating, that looks like a solid place to hold money. Obviously, if they're any type of dividend-related company, then But either way,
it's one of the biggest, with 26% of total industry revenue in the U.S.
One of the reasons airlines have cut back on food or for certain shock events, 9/11, when airlines were kind of careening toward bankruptcy, travel demand dried up, food was a very easy way for airlines to cut costs.
Airlines eventually brought meals back, and many started charging for food in economy class. It's yet another common add-on item we see today, on top of baggage fees and seat upgrades.
One of the numbers that you will never find that the airlines keep very, very secret, is the amount that they pay their airline caterers for each meal, the actual cost.
Because it's a lot of meals at once, not very much.
They make a spectacular profit
Right.
on the meals that they sell. If they're selling you one of those lunch boxes for $5, $10, just think of what the actual costs are. They are trivial.
International flights are a different story. Coach class passengers on a lot of those long haul flights are getting hot meals, but the first class meals are so much
Right.
better. They're far more elaborate. They're multiple courses.
Multiple
And
courses,
it's
for real.
because those passengers are buying tickets that are $5,000, $6,000, sometimes topping $10,000.
Right.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, meals were one of the first services to be cut. Airlines have brought back much of that service, and what we're seeing today is that consumers are more willing to spend when it comes to air travel.
They want not just a better seat, but better technology in the seat, better screens, better entertainment options, better Wi-Fi, and dining is also part of that experience.
The amount of people flying and expected growth in air travel has led American Airlines to build its own kitchen in Dallas to keep up with demand.
We are in our new state-of-the-art kitchen. This is the largest catering facility in the United States.
Prior to this new facility, Americans' food was prepared in another building alongside other airlines.
What we like about owning the kitchen is ultimately we have flexibility as our business needs change. Currently, we have contracted out with LSG Sky Chefs to be our exclusive provider in the kitchen for the foreseeable future.
LSG Sky
Dallas Fort Worth
Chef.
International is American's world headquarters. The new facility makes meals for flights to Asia, South America, Europe, and domestic routes.
We tailor our offerings based on where our customers are traveling to. The one constant is our customer preferences change. What they may have enjoyed last year isn't necessarily what they're going to enjoy tomorrow. So we continue to modify our in-flight dining and our footprint and what we actually make in the kitchen based on that.
Up or down?
American invested $100 million.
All right, guys, really quickly. So yeah, LSG Sky Chef is owned by the airline Lufthansa. Right now they're trading at $7.89. The overall range is from $7.70 to $7.92, so they're slightly down, but they're not really. And they also have a market cap of $9.36 billion, guys. Average volume of 30,902. Guys, I mean listen. It is down, though, guys. The stock price is down. In 6 months, it's actually plummeted. Matter of fact, never mind. Stay away from the stock market. Don't do that. That's bad. It's down like $3, guys.
Building this facility and is replacing some tasks
But it is publicly traded, so keep that in mind.
with automation to speed up production. Like this machine that packs trays of drinks, which can reach up to 200,000 cans a day. It could even sort bad cans from good ones, a task that used to be done by people. When a plane lands, trucks and workers arrive and remove all the galley carts. They're emptied, cleaned, and restocked, and get prepared to be sent out to another flight.
It allows us the ability to make the food fresh, prepare it fresh, store it really quickly in temperature-controlled areas, and then almost immediately put on the aircraft. So from the time of production to when our customers are enjoying it can be as short as 2 hours and maybe a little bit longer in different circumstances.
Depending on the flights, obviously.
First and business
also.
class meals are made fresh in a kitchen, packed on a tray, and refrigerated until they're reheated in flight. Other items like snack boxes are prepared here too, in a temperature-controlled room. The staff uses pictures to set each tray as menus change over the course of the year and from route to route.
Airlines are under pressure to also provide more authentic dining. Sometimes they'll cater the plane based on the destinations, and it is a very complex.
That's really important because you don't want to have like a whole lot of pork-themed dishes heading to Morocco, for example,
thing.
or like seafood, like specifically crustaceans.
Menu fatigue is something that's very real in this industry, and so we're constantly striving to mix things up. In the very near future, we'll be using artificial intelligence to actually take photographs of our food as it comes back from the aircraft. This will help inform menu design in the future.
The airlines use catering facilities around the world, but this is the first building American has built
Genius.
from the ground up. There are more than 1,000 LSG Sky Chef employees who work here. A fleet of over 100 trucks go back and forth from the facility to each aircraft every day to ensure planes can leave on time.
It really doesn't matter what you serve. The number one outlier that is important to our customers is running an on-time operation.
Yeah, I would think that would probably be mandatory. The last thing an airline wants most likely would be held up because the food hasn't gotten there on time. That's crazy.
The demand for food will certainly continue to grow as more and more people will be traveling over the next several decades. But the bigger challenge may be more about the negative stigma about the food itself.
The technology of cooking in flight is always going to be convection ovens. It is a moist style of cooking. You are steaming it. Americans love fried food. Why don't you give us fried food? Imagine working a deep fryer aboard an aircraft.
Ooh.
No, don't.
Right.
It's
No.
a terrible
No.
idea.
Right.
The airline's ability to cater to our sense of flavor has changed because we not only know more about the technology of food, we know more about the physiology of us. The airlines are getting better at finding things that will work.
Happy
Airlines will
mediums.
continue to use food to draw in customers as they fight to incentivize their airline's products and hopefully get them to pay more.
Sometimes the coach passengers could even get a literal whiff of the food that the first class passengers are being served.
Right.
Kind of the smell of
sure.
freshly baked cookies, just kind of like a trope of the class divide within an airplane. That's been going on for a long time, but you can actually kind of see how much better the passengers are being fed just a few inches away from you.
I'm gonna be honest. This is a great video. I honestly can tell you that I've never actually sat and thought about where the food actually comes from. I do know that it's always bland tasting, but I do understand the science behind why it's bland tasting, right? But I've always kind of figured that it was going to be like some type of catering company, not specifically one owned by another airline that's actually facilitating these things to other airlines. That's smart. That's a really great business model. And I'm telling you, it almost feels like there may actually be some room for competition there. I'm just going to go ahead and point that out, guys. All right. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day and enjoy your day thoroughly.